While coaching significantly increases learning and self-discovery, the best part is that it leads to progress and great results because of action and accountability. Welcome to the Drew Coaching Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 11, Action and Accountability. And this week we're focused on supporting others to create action steps and holding them accountable to progress. Drew Coaching raises up leaders who shape the future. My name is Eric Drew, and as a leadership development coach, I'm so excited for you to invest in yourself and your team by joining us here on the podcast. The Drew Coaching Podcast is a weekly boost for your leadership in 10 minutes or less. This season, we're focused on growing the leadership of others through teaching, mentoring, and coaching. If you're new to the podcast, I want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us. This season, we've added a number of new subscribers and listeners, so I want to thank you for listening, for sharing with your friends. It's so fun to hear your stories of progress as you teach and mentor and coach. If you keep finding this valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you'd continue to share with friends, coworkers, or others in your network. It's fun to see our community grow, and by doing that, you're investing in their leadership and raising everybody's leadership together. The best thing to share with them is probably the show notes. Those have the most important content and questions. They're available for free at drewcoaching.online. I'm also sharing daily on TikTok and Instagram to encourage all of us to practice and grow our leadership during the week. Love to see you and connect with you there as well. So this season, first we covered teaching, then we covered coaching for 4 episodes. This month we're growing in our coaching skills, and this week we get to see real progress through action and accountability. Now, while I'm grateful for the learning and support I receive from my coach, the best part of my coaching relationship is the progress I make from month to month. We get to progress through action and accountability. Whether I'm working with a coach or my coach one-on-one, or you're in a team meeting, or you just run into a coworker and get into a strategic conversation, practice our focus this week to make sure you keep making progress. Make sure that they create action steps and then you hold them accountable to make progress. One of the biggest challenges I see in a world that's changing so fast is that we get stuck talking about it. We talk about the challenges. We talk about creative opportunities. We talk about frustrations with coworkers. We talk about culture and mission and values. We talk about the work in front of us and on the calendar. But if we're not leading others to outline and take the next steps, we're going to continue to be stuck. I want you to help those around you to create action steps and ask about their progress. Here are 3 questions to ask near the end of a conversation so that individuals or teams you're working with don't get stuck. What are the next steps? I still can't believe how many meetings or conversations that I'm a part of when we've had significant, helpful conversation, but we either run out of time or forget to say and write down our next steps. Then a week or 2 or 6 later, we connect again and we haven't made any progress. All you have to do is make the time to ask, what are the next steps? I'm telling you, if near the end of any conversation you start asking this question, it will be a game changer. Once you ask, here's the important part. They need to state the action steps for themselves. Don't summarize or tell them what you think is next. Ask the other person of the group, what are the next steps? Then practice pausing and let them create their own. What's the timeline? Again, this sounds basic, but I can't tell you how many meetings, conversations, and projects that I see that don't lay out the timeline for what we're doing next. After the person you're coaching or talking to knows what their next steps are, ask them what the timeline is. Now, sometimes others need a push and we need to recommend a timeline, maybe. If I need to jump in, I might ask, can you complete this by the end of next week? But I still find that asking the question and letting them come up with the right timeline for themselves is the best way. Give them enough time to think through the details for each next step and how long it might actually take. Actually, asking about the timeline almost always causes people to get more clarity about what their next steps are and how long they'll take. Finally, I like to ask who else can help. A variation of this might be, what other help do you need? If I'm working with someone I supervise, I try to ask, what can I do to help? But the key idea here is to open the person or team to consider other partners. Don't leave them all by themselves to complete the action steps. Help them to expand their thinking and possibilities by bringing in others to help and support. Now, when it comes to the accountability part of action and accountability, those first 3 action questions will lead to significant progress. Then, the next time you run into the person or team or go to the meeting, there are 2 additional questions I like to ask to weigh out with accountability. First, what progress have you made? Don't just assume progress. Even if you know the progress that has been made, ask about it. Checking in by asking about progress lets others articulate it for themselves and opens up the space to celebrate successes or name challenges. That gets us to ask, what are you learning? I love this question because it works whether they met the timeline and their action steps or not. If they've made progress, they'll be learning something. If they haven't, or if they've run into obstacles, or for whatever reason they're unsure about progress and movement, they'll be learning something. Reflecting on what they are learning will lead to deeper self-discovery and better movement in the future. If you can end every conversation about work, a project, or other important issues before you and others by asking, what are the next steps? What's the timeline? Who else can help? That will significantly change the trajectory towards progress. Partner those questions with, what progress have you made? And what are we learning? And it's a recipe to get unstuck, to see great results, and to significantly improve momentum. Get in the habit of asking these questions for a month or 2, and I bet you'll be surprised by how much progress you see. I want you to ask those 5 questions as many times as possible this week. Help others to create their own action steps and then hold them accountable as you check in later. So here are a few practical application questions for you. What's your natural posture towards action and accountability in meetings and conversations? Who are 1 or 2 people that need your help to create a plan of next steps? I want you to practice ending conversations with the questions and starting next conversations with the accountability questions at least 5 times this week. Hey, I can't wait for you to practice these 5 questions this week and maybe the next few weeks. Action and accountability might be the coaching skill that actually makes the most difference when it comes to getting us unstuck and helping us make progress and gain momentum. Hey, and we need that because you're a leader. You're a creative. The world needs your voice. So help them create action steps and then hold them accountable. You're going to continue to raise up others, bring hope to life. We're in this together.